What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog here with our first Brawl list since Core 21 came out. And this one, of course, Liliana's Disciples. We're going to take a look at Liliana, Waker of the Dead. It's kind of an interesting card. There's lots of abilities going on here. 4 mana, 4 loyalty Planeswalker. +1, each player discards a card, and each opponent who can't loses 3 life. So we have to discard something, but our opponent does too. And if we've gotten them down to a point where they don't have any cards in hand, they at least lose through 3 life. So that's pretty interesting. You can -3, where target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. So it's nice that it doesn't worry about like a creature type, doesn't have to be or card type, doesn't have to be creatures or anything in particular, just any number of cards in your graveyard, and you can kill a creature on your opponent's side. So that's pretty cool. And the fact that it's -X is nice, so it gets around things like indestructible and that sort of thing. And the -7 though is kind of the really interesting and fun part, where you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste. So the fact that it's any graveyard is what really makes this pretty interesting. So we're going to be running some big creatures here in ours. We're also going to be running some discard effects, and of course we're a mono black list, so we're going to be running plenty of removal, which there's obviously lots of good already existing removal, and then Core gave us some pretty interesting new removal options as well. So what we're doing here is Eye Collector is a 1/1 flyer for 1 mana. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each player mills a card. So we don't really care about filling up our graveyard, because obviously it works well with Liliana's -X. And we don't mind milling our opponent's graveyard too, because if we hit a relevant creature, once we get to Liliana's ultimate, her -7, then having our opponent have lots of juicy creatures in their graveyard is fantastic. So Eye Collector is one way to kind of help us get there. Foulmire Knight, just for the 1/1 Death Touch, so we're just trying to keep our opponent at bay until we get to the late game. So having a Death Touch creature is going to make our opponent think twice about attacking into us, protects our Liliana, things like that. And of course, when we draw late game, we can pay 3 to instant speed, draw a card, lose a life. So just a nice little card here for us. Land of Ebon Legion is a way for us to kind of be aggressive in certain matchups. It's a 1/2 for 1 mana. Of course, we can sink 3 mana to it, give it +3/+3, and Death Touch until end of turn. And then it gets counters if any player has lost 4 or more life. So this is just a nice card that works well offensively or defensively. Vampire of the Dawn Moon, same thing here, Death Touch creature. And also has lifelink as well. It's just a 1/1, but just a Death Touch is going to keep your opponent at bay a little bit. And so that's where we're running it. Vicious Rumors. That's kind of part of our discard strategy. Deals 1 damage to each opponent, which is nice. Kind of pinging away at them, especially Liliana can deal 3 damage as well. So any little thing we can do to kind of help chip away at our opponent's life total, since we're not very aggressive. And Vicious Rumors can kind of help out with that a little bit. It is just 1 damage, so it's not anything super amazing. However, each opponent discards a card, then mills a card. So even if your opponent doesn't have a card in hand they've already discarded, they still mill a card, so they're still filling up their graveyard. Potentially, or top card could be like a creature or something good we might want. And then also dealing 1 damage to them. So it's always doing something, no matter what the situation is. Agonizing Remorse, since we are more of a controlling deck, just kind of looking at our opponent's hand. We do get creatures back with Liliana, so we're probably going to be looking at exile and removal spells, or planeswalkers on our opponent's side, and Agonizing Remorse works fantastic in those situations. Burglar, of course, works well as a discard effect, and just a 1/1 body to kind of jump block for you. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. Eliminate is one of our new removal spells. 2 mana, instant speed, destroy a creature or planeswalker with mana cost 3 or less. Obviously, there's a million 3 mana planeswalkers, especially like Ward of the Spark, Royal Scions. There's just lots of different targets for eliminate, and of course plenty of creatures as well. So just a nice versatile removal spell. We're in mono black, so even something like Grasp of Darkness works. Dark creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. If it doesn't kill something, it can at least nerf the creature significantly and kind of buy you time to kind of get to some of your more relevant effects. So just kind of a useful card all around. And of course, Heartless Act, instant speed, being able to destroy a target creature with no counters on it, or remove 3 counters from target creature. Just a nice little removal spell. Mire Triton, same thing here with Death Touch. We do mill 2 cards, and we do gain 2 life. So again, we don't mind filling up our own graveyard a little bit. We do have some of our own creatures that we don't mind milling over that we can get back. And of course, filling up our graveyard for Liliana's -X ability is great. Yarok's Fenlurker is another kind of discard effect. However, that card gets exiled, so it doesn't quite work with Liliana's -7, but that's fine. It does get cards out of our opponent's hand, and that's basically what we're trying to do. Then, of course, we can sink mana into it, give it +1/+1 until end of turn. So, for some reason, our opponent doesn't have creatures out, then we can just Yarok's Fenlurker and just start chipping away at our opponent's life total with that. Mazemind Tome is a new card here we got in core set. 2-mana artifact. We can tap it to put a page counter on Mazemind Tome and scry 1. Or we can pay 2 mana, tap it, put a page counter on it, and draw a card. And once there's 4 page counters on it, we exile it and gain 4 life. So it's kind of like the new treasure map. The nice thing is, treasure map, you always had to pay 1 to scry 1, and then once you scried, was it 3 times, then you flip it into a land, and then you could sack treasure to draw cards. Well, this is a lot cleaner than that. This one, you don't have to sink any mana into it, so you can just do this before your draw step to tap it and scry. Or if you're just looking to draw cards, then you can just leave the 2 mana open to draw cards, and then you're going to gain 4 life out of it, so that works well in a lot of situations as well. And of course, Davriel works what we're trying to do, forcing our opponent to discard a card. It only has 3 loyalties, so you're probably going to do this 2, maybe 3 times, but it does ping away your opponent for not having cards in their hand, so that's pretty relevant. Embodiment of Agonies just works really interesting in a singleton list. It's Flying Death Touch creature, so that kind of lines up with what we're trying to do, and it gets +1/+1 counter for each different mana cost among non-land cards in your graveyard. And it shows you the example here of 2 and black is different from 1 black. Even though the CMC is 3, there's different ways to get to those 3, and so that's what the demon here is looking for, the differences in the mana cost. So that would be 2+1 counters. So yeah, just always a relevant choice in a singleton format, and with the Death Touch, it works with what we're trying to do here as well, protecting our planeswalkers, and making sure our opponent doesn't want to attack into us. Same thing with the Grimdancer, 3/3. We can choose 2 counters among Menace, Death Touch, and Lifelink. So if we're in a situation where maybe do want to be the aggressor, we can choose Menace. Probably just going to be choosing Death Touch and Lifelink though most often. And Mind Rot, target player discards 2 cards. Pretty simple card. Murders, nothing too amazing. Murderous Rider, though, however, is pretty fantastic. Being able to destroy a creature or planeswalker instant speed, and then play it down as a 2/3 life-linking body. Omnix Cruelty, -5/-5, and the creature goes to exile. Plaguecrafter, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, and if they can't, they should discard a card, so that works well with what we're trying to do here. Drag to the Underworld, since we're mono-black, let's run Drag to the Underworld. We aren't really running a ton of creatures, but we should have enough devotion here. We can make this just a 2 mana. Instant speed, destroy a creature. All we need is like 1 or 2 creatures out, and then boom, Drag to the Underworld is a fantastic 2 mana removal spell. So the Dread Presence here. Whenever a swamp enters, we choose to draw a card and lose a life, or deal 2 damage to any target, and you gain 2 life. So lots of upside here with gives us some card draw, since it's something we're a little bit light on, and also some life gain as well, since we are kind of a controlling deck. If our opponent is able to fight through our removal, especially things like Castle Ardenvale and things that make like tokens, can be kind of tricky for us to deal with. So for us to kind of gain life and just ping away at our opponent's life total works well. E2 Extinction, just fantastic to exile creature or planeswalker. We also get to look at the top card of our library, put that into our graveyard. It's another way to kind of potentially fill up our graveyard to help Liliana's -X. And Price of Fame, I think, is just kind of an auto-include in these singleton type formats. Your opponent's always going to have legendary creatures out, or in their deck, I should say. And so this is often just going to be a 2 mana, destroy a legendary creature, and surveil 2. So just a great option there. Rankle is another interesting one. Kind of works well with everything we're trying to do here. 3/3 Flying Haste for 4. Whenever it deals damage, we can choose to have each player discard a card, have each player lose a life and draw a card, or each player sacrifices a creature. So all 3 of these options are definitely going to be things that fit with what we're trying to do. So Rankle is a really cool card for us. And here's our first reanimation spell, Bond Revival. Return a creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains haste until your next turn. Obviously, a lot of our lower drops aren't too amazing. We do have the Knight of Ebon Legion, which is something I want to get back. Maybe a Burglar Rat if we have to. It's not amazing, but mostly we're just trying to mill or discard some of our bigger creatures, which we're about to get to, and have Bond Revival get those out of the battlefield, back onto the battlefield with haste. Cavalier of Night, we can kind of sacrifice our Burglar Rats or Yarok's Fenlurker, things like that, to destroy a creature on the opponent's side, and then have a 4/5 life-linking creature. And if they kill it, we just get one of those creatures back, so that's pretty sweet. Gravebreaker Lamia, it's a 4/4 lifelinker. When it enters, we search for a card to put into our graveyard, then shuffle your library. So we can just search for one of our creature cards that we want to reanimate, and just put it into our graveyard, and then boom, it's sitting there waiting for us to get to our Liliana's Ultimate or our Bond of Revival, things like that. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Grey Merchant of Asphodel, it's going to help us gain some life. So we do have enough devotion where this is going to be relevant. It's not quite as good as those mono black devotion lists you see like in Historic in particular. They're super powerful with gray, but I still think it's worth taking a look at, and it's going to help us gain some life against those really aggressive matchups. Rise from the Grave, kind of similar to the Bond of Revival. However, we get to look at any player's graveyard to put a creature down. It doesn't gain haste though, but we do get to look at even our opponent's graveyard, and it's a black zombie for what it's worth. Don't have too much synergy, but that's kind of interesting. And Gourmand here is a new creature from core set. 6 mana, 5/5 flying trample, so it's okay. It's a cast a spell. We have to sacrifice a creature, so we can sacrifice one of our little Burglar Rat, Fenlurker, or whatever, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So that's where this is really interesting. So forcing our opponent to sack creatures, because we're wanting a ton of removal ourselves. Another new card here is Massacre Worm. That's a 6/5 for 6 mana, so a pretty solid body. When it enters, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. So we're just trying to wipe out, especially any go wide strategies. It's going to be amazing against, like the token Amara, or was it Reese, I believe is the name of that one. It's a 1/1. Strategies like that, Massacre Worm is going to put a lot of work in. And whenever creatures die, they don't even care if it's like a creature, token, or any kind of creature. That player loses 2 life. So that's a pretty fantastic way for dealing damage for our opponent. Help us close out games. We have the Demon of Loathing, 7/7 flying chapel. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. So lots of sacrifice effects, which is pretty cool. So we can kind of get around hexproof pretty easily. Let's have Villas here. It's another fantastic top end, 8 mana, 8/8 flying. Pay 2 life to give target creature -1/-1 till turn, and whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So just a really interesting and powerful card all around. Final here we have Erebos' Intervention, black and X to choose target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, you gain X life. Or you can exile up to twice X target cards from graveyards. So if we do want to exile, like some Jumpstart or Escape type cards that aren't creatures that we want to get back potentially later on, then obviously we can clear up our opponent's graveyard, and if there's a creature we need to deal with, we can just get rid of that and gain some life at the same time. So that's just a nice removal spell. And we do have some pretty reasonable card draws, so we're just going to run 24 lands here. So just the 1 Castle Locthwain, 21 Swamps, the 1 Bonder's Enclave, and 1 Field of Ruin for our opponent's non-basic lands. And the Enclave is nice because we do have some nice top-end creatures that are pretty powerful, and especially if we get something back on our opponent's side. By then, we're often running pretty light on cards, so Bonder's Enclave is a way to kind of help us keep digging for answers. Right, so that's the deck. Let's jump into some Brawl and see how we do. Alright, up against Yarok, the Cursed Huntsman. Okay, so we have some options here. But I think we'll keep it. We have some nice 1-drops, discard effect, and some removal. Well, we just go turn 1 Knight to turn 2 Foulmire Vicious Rumors. And then just hold up the Rider on 3. Oh, we could do that. Minor definitely loses value later on in the game, so we'll probably just want to fire that off on 3, just get the most value. Our opponent is doing nothing so far. Attack 1. I think we'll just play this down. Hit their hand pretty hard here with the Vicious Rumors into Mind Rot. And we have the good removal spell. We also have Liliana with 4 lands now, so we're in a good spot. Okay, Order of Midnight and Forest Bite the Dust. Overgrowth Elemental. Well, that's interesting. We have 4 cards in hand, so I think we'll if they want to force us to activate the Knight, I think I'm fine with that. Or we could just do it anyway. If they don't block, do we use Mind Rot here? They are going for the block. If they block, we definitely activate. If they don't, we have to decide. And since they block, we'll take that. This is where it's nice having all these 1-drops. Okay, no attacks. They're just going to gain the life back with Revenge of Raven, so we'll just make you lose your hand. Well, they have 1 card left. And once we start get to attacking with our big boys, we're in a pretty good spot. We can rise from the grave of that Thorn Mammoth. That's pretty cool. If we can find a 5th land. If not, we probably just drop Liliana. There's a 5th land. I think we're in a decent spot either way here. But yeah, let's just do that. Get the Thorn Mammoth down. Seems pretty good. Again, no attacks. They're just gonna they're gonna gain 2 anyway. Okay, Ritual of Sits. And they pack it in. Yeah, we discard is pretty nasty. Okay, Niv Mizzet Perun. That's pretty nasty. Yeah, 1 into 2 into 3. Seems reasonable with 3 lands. A lifelink with the Lamia. I don't think these Izzet lists have great answers for 4 and 5 powered creatures. And they have Lava Coil, obviously. That has a 1-ofs. And depending on what all they're running, there's lots of good options they could be running. We'll see. We could Knight here, but I think we'll just go Triton. I mean, I'm sure they're holding up some shocks or some similar effects. If they want to counter that, that's whatever. Sweet. So we'll just go to Mind Rot here on 3, and then either way, if it gets discarded, we get something out of their hand, so that's fine. So they're just running a bunch of counter spells, Niv Mizzet, and some Planeswalkers, looks like. Okay, they discard, draw 2, and now they have to discard 2. Kind of interesting choice there. I guess they were hoping to keep what they had. So, Spark Double and Precognitive. Not sure what the Spark Double is there for if you're not doing too much. We could Tome into Knight. If they want to waste a counterspell on our commander, I guess that's fine. What do we discard here? We don't have to. Sweet. So we got a counterspell out of their hand, no problem. It's kind of weird how the commander goes to the graveyard and then you have to choose. Let's see, they have a Spark Double, but that's all we can get back. We can Lamia. That resolves. Sweet. What's our biggest, baddest card we can get back? Massacre Worm doesn't really do much. Demon of Loathing is pretty sweet. Probably Demon or Demon? Let's go Villas. Next turn we can rise from the grave at that Villas. They're stuck on land, so that's pretty sweet. And yeah, they're stuck on 3 lands, so they pack it in. Okay, against Gargos. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, we have Fenlurker, and if we draw a 4th land, we have Rankle. Alright, Plaguecrafter. Perfect. Okay, Track Down. This makes one interesting new cards. I haven't really included it in any lists yet. Well, it's pretty medium, but maybe it's better than it looks. Better than I'm grading it. Emergence Zone, so they can play at flash speed if they pay 3 and sacrifice it. Seems pretty medium. They lose a land. Incubation Druid, sure. How about no? Yeah, this deck is pretty evil. Thrashing Brontodon. We could Liliana and just hold a Plaguecrafter to block. I can talk. But let's Rankle. Let's attack in the air. Let's see. We can discard and we can sacrifice. We'll do that. Sweet. Just trying to keep their board nice and clear. We have Bond of Revival or Liliana. Next turn, probably just Bond of Revival, get back Villas. That feels pretty good. And our opponent's stuck on 3 lands. That's unfortunate. But we are just going to do our thing. If our opponent has answers. I mean, green has some pretty decent flying removal. But we have 2 flyers now, so. Crushing Canopy, Plummet, those don't really see a ton of play. But they could have, what is that, 2/2 with Reach. Do we just do nothing here. We want the land and removal. Don't want to give our opponent any chances to draw land. Wow, they still are missing lands? That's crazy. They're at 11, and we have 11 power on board. We have a kill spell if you try to do any tricks. Okay. Alright, up against Nissa, who shakes the world. That's pretty nasty, but we'll try it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's pretty amazing. That is a pretty amazing curve. Found a land. Just hope to play a creature that we can Heartless Act. Leafkin Druid, perfect. Definitely want to keep them off of ramp. They'll attack, they're not going to block. If they do, they lose their dude. And then we destroy. Don't want them to ramp at all. Beanstalk Giant finding a land. Okay, there's land number 4, so they can Nissa next turn. Davriel, force some discard, leave the vampire back on defense to protect our Davriel, so we get at least 1 more discard. So Rankle's pretty medium. We're pretty land flooded here, so we could definitely play Rankle, swing Nissa for 3, and discard a card. Maybe even draw. Don't necessarily want to give them card advantage, but we do need to find some removal. Ways of dealing with Nissa and whatnot. We're not really running sweepers, we have lots of spot removal though. I thought about Extinction Event or Ritual, but since we're running lots of cheap creatures, we got Death Touch, we got lots of spot removal, it just didn't really seem worth it. We also just Liliana here, depending on what they do. And if they play Nissa, they make a 3/3. And then next turn, they'll have 2 3/3s out, assuming they don't attack into our Death Toucher. And then they can kill Liliana, or at least pressure Liliana. So that doesn't seem amazing. I think our best bet if they play Nissa here is just to Rankle. If they don't play Nissa, then we probably Liliana. But we'll see what they do. So they're going to discard twice between these two if we Liliana. We can just pitch a swamp. So again, we need to play around potential Nissa, so we'll just keep our vampire back on defense. Our opponent may be disconnected here. They didn't really do anything. They timed out, and now they're still. They're still timing out over there. So it looks like they disconnected. Hopefully they can get back on soon. Still have a chance here. We are making things very, very difficult for them. So we're just enough discard to be annoying, but not so much that we're annoying, but we're not obnoxious with our discard, I guess. Koga. Wow. I'll drop our Liliana. Each player discards a card. No attacks. So we just have the 2 cards in our graveyard. So we have some choices to make next turn as far as +1, what we want to discard. I guess the Agonizing Remorse at this point. Depending on what we draw, we might discard the Remorse. Overall, we're pretty decent spot. Can't tell if our opponent is roping us at this point, or if they're still disconnected. If they were disconnected, I think they would have just forfeited by now, but maybe not. So it could just be getting roped because they're stuck on 4 lands. Oh, looks like they're disconnected. Okay. Okay, up against Veto. So mono black life gain should be interesting. We don't have good ways to shut it down. We just have to rely on our removal to get there. Of course, we don't have any, but we do have Death Touch. So it's going to make it difficult for our opponent to attack into us. We just go ahead and drop this down here for 1. Okay, we can trade Death Touch creatures, that's fine. Mire Triton, and we got the Murderous Rider next turn. Well, we just save that for Veto. I just hope we draw some lands for Liliana. Rise from the Grave. I assume they hold the Vampire until they can resolve Veto. But maybe they want to be aggressive and force the action. Sure. I'm not sure what the point of that is. But if it makes them feel better. I mean, they don't really have much. Unless there's like 1 or 2 haste creatures in black. Like Banehound or Rankle, but cool. You killed my 2 creatures. We're actually a control deck, so that is perfectly fine. Looking at our graveyard. Not sure what they have in mono black here. I guess there's Cling the Dusts. There's a couple things. Obviously we're running Rise from the Grave, which targets our opponent's graveyard, but at 3 mana, I'm not sure why they're so preoccupied with that. If they're not going to play Veto, then we'll just mind drop. I assume they're just holding up removal for Liliana or another creature. Psych, discard Thought Distortion. It's an interesting one. I think that's kind of matchup dependent, but I guess with Brawl there's still plenty of things you might want to exile. Just like there's probably a number of matches where that card is just not very good. Opponent is roping, or not roping, but they're really taking their sweet time here. I'm not sure why they're so interested in our graveyard. Okay. You're gonna fire off your Herbo's Intervention just to take out some cards that don't really matter. I mean, it does hurt Liliana's -X, but yeah, we'll just kill that. And hope we draw some lands. Find a land they can veto. No land. Tome is interesting. But... Do we just Liliana here? We're stuck on 4 lands. We probably just need to find some more cards. We do have some discarded though. So let's just Liliana. That's fine. We have some options to discard.
You had a fraction of my power.
We have 2 6-drop creatures. The Gormon is going to be hard to cast without creatures to sacrifice since they killed our 2 smaller creatures. Okay, your veto comes out again. So we just have 2 creatures in our graveyard right now. I guess we Grimdancer. We'll go Death Touch and Lifelink. And we will discard. We'll go with the Massacre Worm. Okay, if they have more graveyard interaction, we're not going to be able to use Liliana's minus to destroy this veto. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that action. We'll just swing 3 here. Scry for some lands. Can also draw. Next we just have mana open. I think we'll just draw and hold up the upkeep scry. Okay, Demonic Embrace, they can hit for 4. It doesn't have lifelink, so that's fine. We'll grab a counter. And now let's scry. We just need lands here, please. Man, that is a removal. And we have Plaguecrafter. But I think we just want lands at this point, honestly. So, yeah. We can Plaguecrafter or we can eliminate. We can just hold up eliminate. Okay, so we have upkeep scry again. Rankle. I think we still just destroy that veto. If they want to force us to do some discard shenanigans, that's fine. They have 1 creature, so they can sacrifice their Rankle if they want us to get rid of their Grimdancer. Let's see what you choose. Okay, they want to get rid of our creature. That's seems pretty medium. Yeah, we'll just take lands here. Okay, 3 counters, so we get one more activation. Okay. We can get their Rankle back. Do we have anything else we want? 4/3 and has lifelink. We discarded some cool stuff, so maybe we'll go with that. Massacre Worm or Gormond? Which one do we want? I guess we just go for the. I could go for Rankle. That's pretty reasonable too. Since they probably have removal. Just get the sure damage. Oh man, do we want? I don't know if we want to do any of these. We'll just say no. So we have 6 mana next turn to play Liliana. Ayara. I have a second creature here. Or are you going to Demonic Embrace? You can discard your last card and pay life. They are going for it. Perfect. I think we're actually going to just go to our draw step. Okay. So, Plaguecrafter. Sack Plaguecrafter. Sweet. Alright, well, lots of quick matches. Yeah, I feel pretty good with where the deck is lined up. We have a nice mix of removal and discard. Some early creatures that have the death touch that kind of force our opponent into some bad spots, and Plaguecrafter, even things like that, and just enough top end and reanimation spells that yeah. So definitely getting Liliana to her -7 seems like it's gonna be pretty challenging, but obviously there are gonna be situations where she goes unchecked, and you're gonna get to that, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. But yeah, if you're interested in kind of a more of a mono black controlling type list, this feels pretty good. Liliana, definitely looking forward to kind of brewing around her some more in standard. Probably as much as going to fit pretty well in some reanimation strategies. So definitely be looking to playtest around her with some different some different ideas around that. And yeah, obviously look forward to more Brawl decks as well. They've made Brawl free basically anytime. I think they're doing away with the Brawl with this Brawl Guild Hall, including the reward card, I believe is my understanding. But they're going to make Brawl available to play for free all the time now. So it'll probably just be a regular Brawl queue, I think is my understanding. I also heard that they're going to give us historic Brawl available to play anytime as well. So historic Brawl, that'll be super sweet. There's definitely so many cool things you can do in that, and having that as a full-time options will be super, super amazing. So for those of you interested in Brawl, definitely have some fun things to look forward to. If you're working on something, if there's something you want to see, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. I'm always happy to brew around some interesting ideas. Again, we're looking for stuff that other people are not playing around with, and just kind of focusing on things that don't see a ton of play. So obviously no Kinnons, Niv Mizzets, things like that. All right, guys, so thanks for watching, and until next time, make sure you jank with a purpose.